Hi girlies, welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Alicia Gogan if you are new, and if you are new, don't forget to subscribe because it's a good time over here. Today we're going to be talking about why it's important for you to have substance as a woman and not just focus on solely being pretty. So if you're a pretty girl, you need to watch this. If you're a girl who's aspiring to be a better version of herself physically, you still need to watch this. Okay, so coming from a girl who I wouldn't say I was an ugly duckling in my younger years, but I definitely wasn't the pretty girl. I feel like for a few reasons. One, because when you're younger and you're a teen, you're just awkward, you don't know how to dress yourself properly, you don't know how to do your makeup properly, you don't know how to enhance your own natural beauty. And then as well, I grew up in a town where it was predominantly white, so nobody was really favoring my features anyways. I kind of low-key am happy that I grew up like that, because since I wasn't that pretty girl, I had to focus on things outside of my looks. Without even realizing, I was building up my character. I was learning how to become a woman of substance, really. I learned how to talk to people. I learned how to be a good friend. I learned how to socialize with others and make friends with people outside of just my popularity of looking pretty. And this really helped me actually stay away from guys. I was so terrified to talk to guys when I was younger because I just felt very low self-worth and very awkward. So I wasn't really even talking to guys like that. Like my focus wasn't on boys. I was focused as much as I could be on school and just friends and life. And unconsciously, I was focusing on building myself out outside of my looks. And although part of me still wanted to be the one that got chosen all the time, and that was the pretty girl, which I ended up becoming that. I will link my video up here about how I got my dream body and my whole process with being low self-worth and getting male validation and all of that. I ended up becoming the pretty girl, but then I realized that it just didn't make me feel good. But I think what really helped me come back to myself was that I was rooted in a lot of good values and beliefs, and I had morals and I had standards for myself, even though back in the day I was still a confused girl. I still wanted male validation and attention, but because I didn't grow up being that praised, that pretty girl, and everything was just about my looks, I did have some part of me that was quite humble in that I did focus on things outside of guys and looks and being the hottest girl in the room. And so I ended up creating a lot of my self-worth outside of my looks. I went through a phase for sure where I was getting a lot of validation, especially from men, and that was contributing to my self-worth. I shared that little story because I think it's important that if you are a pretty girl or you're aspiring to become that girl or the pretty girl and you're just focusing on your looks, I think it's really important that you focus on building out your character, becoming more high value outside of your appearance. And this is why. There is always going to be somebody who is going to be prettier than you. It's just true, especially when we're talking about like the male gaze and just like male validation and things of that nature. I bring male attention and validation into my videos a lot, but it doesn't have to be. But if we're talking about a woman's perspective, like we do care about male's attention as well. But I think it's important for you to realize that there will always be somebody prettier than you. There's going to be somebody who is younger, who is thinner, who is just prettier, and people around you will even value her over yourself. And so it's important that you focus on building your value outside of your looks for when things like this happen, because inevitably you're gonna get older and somebody's going to be prettier, and you're gonna see somebody who maybe used to look like you when you were younger. And if you are rooted in a lot of value within yourself, with your different characteristics and your traits as being a high value woman outside of your looks, then you are going to not feel so worthless when you see somebody who is on the outside presenting better than you. Another reason why it's so important for you to stop just focusing on your looks is so that you don't get played by men. Because I think we all know that really pretty girl who constantly just gets played by guys, or the pretty girl who just gets all of the male validation and attention, but she's left crying in her bedroom waiting for somebody to commit to her and he will not commit. I think it's important to realize that just because you are pretty doesn't mean that you're going to yield the results that you truly deeply want for yourself. Because the truth is, if you are a pretty woman, you're going to get a lot of attention from guys or from people around you, but it doesn't mean that it's the right attention or the attention that you deserve. So on one hand, it's amazing to have people say that you're beautiful and be attracted to you, but if you want to have good quality people stay with you, then there's going to be things that you have to work on as yourself that are going to be more important than just what you look like. How you treat other people, how you are in a relationship, how you communicate with people, how you just treat people in general. I think pretty privilege is absolutely a thing, but to a certain extent. You need to learn how to have respect for people, you need to learn how to treat people. To have this pretty princess complex is not necessarily the most attractive thing, especially when you're talking about attracting males of high quality as well. I also think it's important for you to not focus so heavily on your looks, because that's also going to influence who you pick as a mate and who you even pick as your friend. Because I know when I used to focus heavily on my looks, I would only talk to guys who I was just super attracted to and didn't care about any other qualities that they had going on for themselves. And same with friends. Even I would always want to be friends with the popular pretty girls, but it's like a lot of them didn't have any substance. A lot of them weren't nice girls. And I'm not saying all of them. There's a lot of pretty girls. My camera is a little bit off right now. It's because my camera died. Anyways, like I was saying, there's definitely a lot of pretty girls that are nice, but then of course there are some who are not. And I just think it's important for you to focus on learning how to have healthy qualities as a woman, to be a part of society, to be a good friend, to be a good wife, to be, or a good girlfriend, or whatever you want to be a good mother, just to be even maybe a good influence. I think that being somebody who had to work on these things probably a lot earlier and a lot more throughout my life unconsciously, just because I wasn't the prettiest girl in the room, really helped me to have a lot of sense of self-worth, even at the times where I was feeling the lowest self-worth, because I knew at the end of the day I was a good person. I have a good character, I do have standards, I have morals, I have values that I hold within myself. Did I deviate from them? Did I go through different phases when I was younger? 100%, but I still felt like I was more than just my looks. And I think that just for being a woman and feeling confident within yourself, it's important that you focus on becoming a high value woman outside of just your appearance. You are more than just your looks, and I'm telling you that you will learn that as you get older, that your looks will only get you so far. Truly, your looks will only get you so far. It'll get you in the door, but then it's like, what else do you bring to the table? And I know a lot of women don't like to hear that, especially when men say, what else do you bring to the table other than your appearance? But it's true. Now, I made a recent podcast episode about traits/qualities of a high value woman. I want you guys to go listen to that episode and let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. I think what I'm going to do next is to create a series where I break down all of those qualities of a high value woman that I listed in that podcast episode and basically give you tips on how to become that. So for instance, one example of somebody who is very high quality is a woman who respects her time and creates boundaries. Another one is that she takes care of herself even on the days where she doesn't want to. So if you want me to break down any of these qualities that I personally created in this list in the podcast episode, let me know. But I think that's where I'm gonna go next for some of my YouTube videos. But this is just a video to remind yourself, if you're a pretty girl or if you care a lot about your appearance, just know there's always going to be somebody who is prettier. Your looks will only get you so far in life. It's important for you to build out your character, to build out your life, to focus on building your self-confidence outside of your looks, because that's what's gonna keep you sustained. That's what's gonna take you off this emotional roller coaster when you don't get validation from people around you, or when you can't even give it to yourself. You have different qualities about yourself that you can hold on to on the days that you feel bad about your appearance, things of that nature. So I hope this video helped you, inspired you, made you think a little bit deeper, and I will see you guys in the next one. Do not forget to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it. Love you. See you in the next one.